Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Every week that I've done these videos, I've asked for suggestions on what type of content you'd like to see. This week, I'm going to use one of those suggestions. Feel free to leave comments in this video if you have something else you'd like to see me dig into. Here's the question from YouTube user Mario Gonzalez 1456. Can you do a video on the tight end we got from Atlanta and how he may do in McDaniel's system? That new tight end is Jonnu Smith. So who is he? Looking at his profile from Pro Football Reference, you can see that he's 6'3", 248 pounds. He's 28 years old. He went to college at FIU and went to high school in Westport, Florida. He was a third-round pick of the Titans back in the 2017 draft. But most importantly, this was a mistake that I've made for a long time. His name is not pronounced Jonnu Smith with a hard O. It's pronounced Jonnu Smith, sounding more like a U. Okay, now that we know how to say the name of our new tight end, what does he bring to the team? I think most people with general knowledge of the NFL understand that Smith is more of a receiving option than a blocker. So what separates Smith from many of the other receiving options in the NFL is his run after catch ability. Here's a screenshot from the advanced receiving stats on Pro Football Reference. You can see that once you take out the running backs, Jonnu Smith had the 6th highest yards after catch per reception in the NFL last season. If we compare that to the main wide receivers and tight end on the Dolphins roster from 2023, you can see how this could bring a new element to the offense, especially at the tight end position. One of the reasons that I enjoy film reviews so much is that I find myself constantly learning things or finding out that preconceptions that I may have had aren't true at all. And that's kind of where this research took me as well. I went into the offseason feeling like tight end was a position that could be upgraded. I think a lot of fans felt the same way. I felt like Durham Smythe was an adequate inline tight end who was average at best as a blocker and an okay option to catch a pass here or there. I wasn't initially excited about the Jonnu Smith signing because I didn't view him as an inline tight end to replace Smythe. Instead, I saw him as a move-type tight end who would complement Smythe and take some of the Julian Hill snaps, allowing Hill to do more mirroring of Smythe and eventually develop into his replacement. But when I started to dive into the tape, I found something a bit different. Smythe was not used as an inline tight end nearly as often as I thought. In reality, he was probably used inline way less than he was flexed out, used as a wing, or lined up out wide. This realization caused me to start to reframe what Jonnu Smith could be in this offense. I picked the Cowboys game to use for this review. For one, it was the most catches that Smythe had in a game all year and was only second to the Chargers game in terms of targets. Also, the Cowboys are a good team that Miami was able to run the ball effectively against. I think we all remember the sigh of relief when Jeff Wilson converted 3rd and 2 to seal that game. As we get into the tape, we're first going to look at how Durham Smythe was used in the run game to see if Jonnu Smith should be viewed as an option to replace Smythe or whether he should be viewed more as a tight end 2 who's utilized more like a wide receiver. After that, we'll look at some of the ways in the passing game that can be improved by transitioning some of the tight end targets away from Smythe and send them to Jonnu Smith. All right, as we get into the film here, on our first play, we have Durham Smythe lined up as a wing, and he's going to lead the way on a toss. On the next play here, he's lined up in line, and he's going to try to pass block the defensive end. And then on the next one here, we've got a split zone look, and he's going to do a pretty good job of climbing to the linebacker here. And then in line again, we're going to see the same thing from the opposite side, doing a pretty good job again. And then here, he's kind of flexed out. He's going to be run blocking get into the second level immediately. And then here we've got him in line. He's going to kind of bluff the defensive end there, and then he's going to climb to the next level. And then on this next one, going to have him standing up, but basically in line. He's going to try to cut off from the backside. Does a okay job. A more athletic tight end might have a little better result with this type of block. And then again here, he's lined up in line. Going to see him bluff the defensive end and then climb to that second level block. And then this next one lined up kind of as a wing here. This is an outside zone to the left. And this was one of the few times they really asked him to block a defensive end. And he did a good enough job on that play. And then on this one, lined up more as a wing, getting into motion. They're going to throw a swing pass out there, and they're asking him to lead against a defensive back. Okay, so I think you can see the Dolphins share the same view of Smythe's blocking abilities that I do. He's average at best, and they found ways to run the ball without asking him to be a dominant blocker and move defensive linemen. Instead, for the most part, he was asked to use solid fundamentals to get good body position on second and third level defenders. So from a blocking perspective, I'm a lot more optimistic that Jonnu Smith can be a true replacement for Durham Smythe in this offense. Now, let's take a look at what the passing game looked like with Smythe, and more importantly, what it can look like with Jonnu Smith. In our first pass play here, we're going to have Smythe running an out route. He's got limited separation, but he's not even really an option in this play. But I think it's something that Smith could add. And then we get into this next play, get kind of a delayed release here, but he kind of drops into some open space. Again, not an option, but something I think Smith could help us with. And then here we're going to get some split zone action. This one is going to get thrown to Smythe, but you're going to see that he only gets about 2 yards after contact. And then on this one, we're going to have kind of a delayed sit route. Again, only about 2 yards after contact. And here we're going to have what looks like a choice route to me. Smythe goes with the seam route. Again, 2 yards after contact. And then here we get more of a true seam route. Gets the catch, but after contact, about 3 yards. On this one, we're going to get Smythe running a post route. They don't really look his direction, but if you look at the way that play's developing, he probably would have been a better option if he was higher in the progression. And now we're going to start to look at some of the Jonnu Smith stuff. So this is another post route. And what we'll see here is when he catches the ball, he creates after the catch. And maybe he can be higher in the progression than what Smythe is with this type of play. Here we're going to have Smythe running up the seam, kind of sitting down, but you'll see that they don't even look his way. He's not even really an option here. And he does slip. But then we're going to get Smith running the same type of route, getting that target, and then creating after the catch to get past the sticks. Here we're going to have 3rd and 8. He kind of chips the defensive end, but they're not even looking that way with all that space out there. And a big part of that is lack of run after catch. So going back to Jonnu Smith, similar type of play, closer coverage, but they have confidence that Jonnu Smith is going to make somebody miss and gain some extra yards. And then here, we have a choice route where he just kind of sits down and he's tackled immediately. And again, we're going to see Jonnu Smith running a similar type route. And we're going to see the difference with somebody that has some run after catch ability. Our last 2 plays here are stuff that the Dolphins don't even use Smythe on, but can be added to the offense when Jonnu Smith is in the lineup. On this one, we're just going to have kind of a sit route on the perimeter here. We're going to see him break some tackles and get upfield. And one of the things that separates Jonnu Smith is his ability on screen pass as a tight end. We know that the Dolphins like to use screen passes with their wide receivers and running backs. Adding somebody like Jonnu Smith can add another element to that screen game. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it helps to project how our new tight end may be able to project in this offense. As always, let me know in the comments what you liked or did not like about the video. And if you have an idea for future content, leave that as well. Thanks for watching. We'll talk again next week.